All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Between Two Nuts. Today, I am sitting down with Kermit the Log. And Kermit, please go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, to people who may not be familiar with your channel or your Twitter.
Hello, my name is Burt Kurtzer, but my alter ego is Kermit the Log. I have a YouTube channel, which is I'd say it's a combination of comedy and a little bit of horror, and it's pretty fun. And my Twitter is the same. If you just type in Kermit, or if you type in Kermit Log, I think you find me on Google. So there you go.
Wow. Okay. Very helpful because I when I look for you on Twitter, you come up. I know what we follow each other, but still, it always comes up when I put in Kermit the Log on Twitter too. So very helpful.
Thank you.
But yeah, we were
Um,
we were talking briefly earlier about educational history and things like that. And now, what degrees do you have? You said that because we started getting into it. Like, what degree programs or education do you have? Because we were talking about our background educationally and things like that.
I have a bachelor's of whatever it is, a bachelor of I don't know whatever. I have a bachelor degree in screenwriting and filmmaking from the degree says screenwriting from San Francisco State.
Oh, okay. How long? I guess how long did you attend the school? Was it the 4 years, or did you kind of?
No, I went to 2 years of junior college, which was like the best learning experience of my life. Like I
Mm-hmm.
had always hated school my whole life. I went back to school at 31 after working in restaurants for 13 years, and that's one and running around San Francisco getting in all types of trouble.
Right.
That's one that's definitely one type of education that I had. And then at 31, I needed something to do with my life that was it's like it's the same thing every day waiting tables. There was like it's just you wake up, you go to work, you party, you wake up, you go to work and you party, and then you never advance in your life at all. So I really I went to City College of San Francisco for my first 2 years, and like my first semester there, I got to take a screenwriting class and realized I always had a passion for film, and it was like the greatest experience of my life. It was such a good technical school. Like I learned how to do all the aspects of filmmaking, from sound editing to directing to writing to, all the little things like doing a PA job, like even making the food for sets and stuff. It was for crewing. It was a really good
Wow.
experience. Yeah. But then sadly, I wanted to continue my education, and I went to San Francisco State for the last 2 years to get my bachelor's degree, and it was a miserable experience.
Oh God. Now, what part about it was like the roughest? I guess in those 2 years, because we did talk a little bit about it, but
Yeah. Well,
what was the worst
every
part?
I'd have to say the worst day of my entire experience at State. When I was going to City College, it's free,
Right.
and there is the craziest fucking people you've ever seen in your. I'm sorry, is you swear on your show or do I
No,
not
you can go
swear?
right ahead. You go right ahead and
The
swear.
craziest fucking people you've ever seen in your life in the world are people that walk off the streets to come and do screenwriting at City College of San Francisco. It's like
Oh.
homeless people, crackheads, and it's a free for all in there. I mean, it's crazy, but they definitely have stories, and they're crazy people, interesting, weird people. But going to State, it was like everybody, it's exactly what you picture the kids who go to San Francisco State University are like. Like I was there the day Donald Trump. I had class the day Donald Trump got elected.
Oh God. Oh my
Yeah,
God. How? Oh man, you have to tell me how bad this was. Like, 'cause I can only imagine how many people were crying.
everybody was fine. Everybody was fine, and then so okay, you saw me. I'm actually I'm half Irish and I'm half Polynesian.
Okay.
My dad's Samoan and Hawaiian, and
Mhm.
so I don't think I'm the whitest dude ever, but I definitely felt uncomfortable that day. And my best friend, who I'm going to school with, he's Fijian, so you know,
Mhm.
like people were like, okay, so anyways, class got canceled, but you still had to be there.
Oh great.
Yeah, so it was microphone day. It became microphone day,
Oh
and
God.
everybody got to go have a microphone. And this is in an auditorium, and just going through listening to people get up and just belligerently cry. It was like this is day. It was like all the videos you see of the girls crying and screaming, like rage screaming, and then white guys are getting up and walking out in groups, and people are screaming at them, and it's like Jesus Christ, this place sucks.
Oh my
Like
God.
I came here to like I thought I was supposed to pitch my horror idea today.
fact that they made you stay there.
Yeah,
Like,
but I am complaining though because I told you I got to take 4 screenwriting classes there, and I all took them all with this one great lady who was she was a great screenwriting teacher, and I had already taken screenwriting at City College, and at City College I was the TA for like the screenwriting class too, so I'd be grading people like giving people advice on screenplays. So by the time I got to the state, I thought I was very prepared, but I wasn't, and I learned a lot from this one lady who really helped me. She taught me a lot about screenwriting, even though I haven't had one made or anything
right.
officially. But she was the one who also like all my screenplays. They're always horror, and she like she was the one who pushed me to start doing comedy because like in all my screenplays there was pretty comical, and she eventually got me into a sketch comedy writing class there at State, and then we had a performance, and like all the sketch comedy ones that were performed were all written by me, and like like the whole big auditorium was like laughing their ass off at all my stuff, and I was like, from there I was like, I got to start doing some comedy, and she's the one who was like, yeah, you should. She was the one who told me to keep pursuing that instead of writing screenplays. So
Wow.
uh, yeah, then she's like, you got to sign up for Second City, which is like have you heard of Second City?
Yes, I have. Absolutely. Out of Canada, and that was Lauren. Wasn't that from Lauren Michaels' neck of the woods?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. It's like the minor leagues for Saturday Night Live and stuff
Right.
like that. So they have school in Canada, Toronto, and
Mm-hmm.
then
And,
LA and Chicago.
and they have a lot of like training programs and stuff available online, uh,
That's the one they took.
and I think, and when you brought that up one time we were talking, I was like, oh yeah, I've known some people in the past that have taken some courses there. I don't, it's been a long time since I've spoken to them, but they really, really loved the experience and at least the the hints and the helpfulness of the programs. Like some of the
Yeah,
classes were very beneficial, and for somebody that when you're at a distance and you can't really make it to one of their training centers, it's exceptionally helpful to have it
right.
online.
Right. No doubt, and that's the thing I just did this last year. I took all the online courses that you could take from there, and that was just because I missed school. But I was like avoiding trying to go get a master's, but I just wanted to keep writing stuff. But in the Second Cities classes is where I learned how to write monologue jokes, which is where most of my the PMS shows episodes I make come from.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So, for those who don't know, Kermit has or sorry, Burt habits. Um, on his YouTube channel, he has a show called PMS Show, and it is a sketch comedy show. It is not PC. It is definitely um, the old school humor that we're
Yeah,
calling old school now, which we shouldn't be, but I
yeah.
digress.
uh that's thanks. I appreciate that you say it like that because like when I think about the like I was listening. I really liked your conversation with the Lonely Banter the other day.
Oh, okay, cool.
It
Thank
was
you.
such a good conversation about like I don't when I really when you asked him is he Phantom Menace, I was like, that's interesting. I don't consider myself Phantom Menace either.
Right,
But I because I don't like groups and there's too much groupthink.
right.
But I do like the thing that like. Oh, and I have to bring this up too because I was talking with Black Angus the other day, and he's like, "Oh, did you buy Ethan Van Sciver's comic book?" I'm like, "No, I don't buy comic books,"
Right,
And he's disappointed in me, like I'm not commentator or whatever, and I'm like, "I'm not really," but the thing I support is fuck PC culture,
right.
and so
I agree
yeah,
with
I
that.
think there's a movement.
Because in the end, I mean, the problem with like the political correctness is it starts to ruin the pure essence of human beings is that we are flawed, and that's what makes it. I don't. To me, that's what makes everything funny, especially when you
Yeah,
have cringy people, and we have a lot of that right now. And it's just,
oh, man.
I mean, there's so much material just walking through a college campus or having a conversation within your family. I
Yeah,
remember when that whole Trump fiasco first that night, I knew actual people that had had emotional breakdowns. And I was like, you need to relax. Like the amount of indoctrination of fear was just so
yeah,
beyond me. And it got so much worse. It's like we went from one
yeah.
extreme under Bush, you know what I mean, to a new extreme under all this other crap.
No doubt, no doubt, that's true. But it's just totally like grown exponentially since the
Oh,
irrationality has grown exponentially since Trump's been in office.
absolutely. And I feel like do I think like it's going to get any better with time? Mm, I hope so. I do like that Dave Chappelle and other comedians are
Yeah. Oh yeah.
stepping on feet and getting back to where they should be and where comedy should be.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, I think like his special. Did you watch the Sticks and Stones?
I loved it. I
It was.
loved it.
I watched
I
it
loved
twice. I was
Yeah.
so happy with it because in the end, that's the humor I enjoy is the offensive, but you know, we all know it's a joke. Like
Yeah.
comedians are not just like celebrities; they are not the voice of reason.
Right.
um,
No, I I
yeah.
I I would almost like something now, even if it wasn't funny, if it was just offensive, just to piss people off.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
like I like, I just don't like people's feelings being, nobody's feelings should matter, especially in something artistic.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because in the end, um, art is yes, it's in the eye of the beholder to a great extent. It's just like kind of like when you walk through an art museum, you're gonna see stuff in there. You're like, that modern art's crap, literally, and
Yeah.
but you can appreciate the fact that it is art and it's somebody's perspective. That's fair. There's pieces of art that I absolutely don't like whatsoever, but people just idolize it, and it. Once again, it's about the way that some people feel makes them feel or makes them
Hmm.
look a certain way, and I think that's what the humor. Like I sat down and I can't even name the movies I watched that were millennial based, meaning they were trying to target that millennial PC humor.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful, and there was no real. It wasn't funny. It was very snarky and condescending humor, and it wasn't funny. In the end, it was just more or less just a bunch of kids spitting at each other. You know,
Wow.
there was no slapstick. There was no offense. To it, which the point of humor is to offend, to
Hell yeah.
enlighten. It has. There is no point. Like I don't know. Comedy in general is not. I don't know, it's the stuff that we find that's inappropriate that's the most hilarious to me. I don't know. How do you feel about, I guess, when it comes to comedy for you? What is your favorite style of comedy?
My favorite style of comedy. You mean like stand up or like a movie? I mean, I like dark comedies.
Okay.
I like dark. I like anything that's really bad. I don't know. Like I love Dave Chappelle. I just watched The Joker, and did you see The Joker yet?
Not yet. No, I have not.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but there was much of the film that like I think it's supposed to be like sadistic stuff, and I'm like laughing out loud, like I'm the Joker, and people are looking at me like I have some problems. I guess I don't know. I laugh at the darkness of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, like I laugh at my own jokes all the time when I'm writing them.
Right.
I love Dave Chappelle. I love so many. I have such a love for all the comedians. Like, I mean, I love Andrew Dice Clay. I love like Mitch Hedberg.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I like what do you call it? I like Don Wrinkles a lot. I love him.
yeah,
And I watch all
you
of
have a
his.
love for old. You have a love for the years past.
Absolutely. Because that's a different kind of humor. It's like when you watch the Dean Martin show, like the old
Mm,
ones, right?
mm-hmm,
Those are fantastic. And like the roasts or just the regular show he had. And the more
right.
offensive, the better. I was like, this is fantastic. Because in the end, we all know that, with comedy, everyone has a perspective, everyone has an opinion. But when we're like, what do you call it? Policing language to the point where we
Mhm,
can't even say a joke. My
right.
God, it's been a terrible few years of crappy comedians. Bill Burr is fantastic too. He's
Oh,
another
I
one I
love
love.
him. Do you watch F is for Family?
Yes, I do. I need to catch up on episodes, but yes, I enjoy his show a lot.
I love that show, and it reminds me of kind of growing up. I mean, I grew up in the '80s. I'm 37. Reminds me of like the same growing up experience I had. Like nobody cared about your feelings. And all of a sudden we've been told that everybody's feelings matter.
Right. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, first off, this isn't that serious. This is a joke. And
Right.
don't take it to the T of what someone is saying as gospel. And I don't know, I guess I do know and I don't know how we've gotten to this point of helicoptering parenting. It's like these same kids that had parents that helicoptered over them, like, are let loose into the world. And they're just like, now we have to micromanage everybody else too. And I'm like, listen, man, you got to relax. This isn't that serious. It really isn't that serious. And I'm a big Eddie Murphy fan, And when I
Hmm.
heard that he was going to be coming back and doing some stand up, I was like, oh man. And he was talking. Did you ever have you watched any of the episodes of Comedian in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld?
I've seen them all, but not the new season.
Okay, Eddie Murphy is on there. I highly recommend seeing that.
That's exciting.
Yes, because he's in there. He was very honest. You know, he's like, I am. He goes, I am a little petrified in a sense. You know, about getting out there and using because the same material he would have used. You know, like let's say in his
Uh,
Raw or anything else. Let's just go by any film he's done. Will guaranteed offend someone. So there's this fear he has that if he gets up there and he does the same kind of stand-up comedy that he had done, because it's a lot of pressure, and he did do that contract with Netflix. He did. I guess they signed it. So I mean, he is nervous about it. But I mean, do you think humor can be salvaged by these comedians like David
I think,
Chappelle?
hell, well, I mean, Dave Chappelle is obviously showing that it can be, and then his success will have a pyramid effect on other comedians, I assume,
Yes.
because and money talks and bullshit walks. So he's gonna. I think I think there's always going to be now people. There's going to be the culture war, but there's going to be businessmen who want to make money and or business people, I should say. But somebody's going to put everybody's going to want somebody like Dave Chappelle if they can make the audience laugh. People are thirsty for that too.
Yep.
Like look at his success. Look at what the Rotten Tomato score is versus the critics. Like people are tired of being told what to laugh at, what's okay to laugh at. Like Chappelle is, and it's so important that Chappelle does it because he can get away with it, and then that creates space for other people to do it, right?
Right.
But also really think that like that Bill Burr to a smaller extent, but I think the movie The Joker, I mean, there's significant boots to ass in the culture war against the politically correct people with the success of The Joker and Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, that with the Joker, I have to watch it. I had seen the reviews and I was very pessimistic. I'm not gonna lie, I was pessimistic. I was like,
Mhm.
well, there's too many people liking this.
Right, right.
you know? So my
Yeah.
paranoia was, oh well, because there's so many people that are liking this film, what is it in that film that is attracting those types of reviews? Is it good or is it bad? Is it, PC related or not? And you get mixed, to be honest, you kind of get a mixed feeling from the trailer. But Joaquin Phoenix always delivers, so I'm signed up because it's Joaquin Phoenix, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
He,
he's a multi-talented actor and could do a facet of different things. And his humor is it's very quirky humor.
oh my God, is way too, God. I'd love to talk with you about it again after you see it, but you know,
So would you say that this is an Oscar nomination type role for him?
no doubt. But would I say that he won't even have a chance at it because how dare they cast a white male, somewhat straight white, cis gendered white male is not winning best actor.
Oh God. And the politics is so thick in Hollywood. you can't
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
walk away from it. That's how bad it is.
And then they wonder like every show they're like they broke a new record with 7% down from the last year. It's like well it's because you put they can't even have a show host because they're afraid of hurting anybody's feelings.
And
Like
that's
you
that
walk up there and transgender joke at
ridiculous.
the start.
Oh my God, so much bullshit with that. Like that whole like the Kevin Hart situation. I'm like,
Yep,
are you
yep,
serious?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And and
That,
I love Kevin
that,
Hart, but
I love the Dave Chappelle one. Like I was like how he starts it off with the thing about Anthony Bourdain, and that was so
oh,
hilarious.
I knew the moment that his Dave Chappelle stand up started with the Anthony Bourdain joke where that shit was going. I was like, this is already going down a cliff. Enjoy.
Yeah, it like made you like get up in your seat and be like, did he just say that? That's hella funny.
Oh my God, it was great, and I appreciated it because I was like, a lot of these stand-up comedians, like, we used to go see, I used to on my birthday every year for a long time. I would go see different stand-up comedians that would come into town
Cool.
live, and
What state are you in?
I was in Arizona, so that's where I used to
Okay.
live, and so we had like different popular spots there in Tempe where the stand-up comedians would come through, or like in Glendale,
Yeah.
Arizona, things like that. But I went and saw Jeff Dunham, Harlan Williams.
Harlan Williams.
Harlan
Wow.
Williams is fan. Yeah, I enjoy him. He's a very nice man too. I got to meet him, and he was
Cool.
very kind. I was dealing with some irritating relatives at the time, and I said some terrible, like very offensive joke, and he laughed his ass off. And I was like, "Yeah, sorry," because I said it under my breath, and I didn't think he heard me. Um,
That's everything.
but very down to earth dude though, very nice. And Jeff Dunham is a very nice man as well. He lives in Phoenix, but he's from Texas. So,
Hmm.
but I saw Jeff Dunham's recent special he did, and it's on Netflix, and and you could tell he at first he kind of tiptoed around things, but then as a comedian, what you do in those situations, like a lot of them did, just like Dave Chappelle, is you grab the bull by the horns and go for it to make your humor and
Mm-hmm.
to push the limit. That's the purpose of a jester. They hold I'm a jester of a court type thing. You push the limits of what is considered unacceptable to make it laughable because we know it's wrong. That's the point of comedy, right? And
Oh
dark
yeah.
comedy is especially that way. Um, but yeah, like what was I gonna say? When all of these comedians are facing these types of issues with the PC push and the just the behavior, I'm hoping that because when I watched Dave Chappelle's special, I watched it twice because I watched it with other people. I was like, "This is great. You have to watch." Um, he, I feel like that was like we know when you watch like the first time. I mean I was obviously way too young, but with Eddie Murphy's Raw, that was a changing point in comedy. As far as it was like Richard Pryor, but on a whole nother level, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I'd agree.
And so when you watch that David Chappelle episode, for me, I watching that was a changing moment for comedy, to kind of
Uh,
grab that back, to take it back, and take
yeah,
it,
reappropriated it
yeah,
for sure. But yeah, it was he's taking back for society and comedy. It's like it's big.
right,
It's really big, and especially because he's always been a liberal icon.
yes, absolutely. And I mean, I think with a Chappelle, like the fact that he took all that time off and he went to Africa, spent some
Yeah,
time,
away
really,
from the
yes, exactly. He got away from everything because he was like,
for his
no,
principles,
I'm sorry.
for his principles too. What a man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and not a lot of people have that. Like, no one knows how to take a step back and say, okay, well, I need to look within myself a little bit because really, when you're a writer, and we had talked about earlier, is that you are, your education is in screenwriting. You're a writer. Even when you're doing your monologues and things like that, you're still a writer. And writers, in order for them to get material, you have to go within a little bit. It's not just simply putting a pen to paper or sitting at a computer. It's taking the opportunity and the time to really go within yourself. So there are pieces of ourselves in the things that we write, you know,
No
um,
doubt.
especially our own inner reflections. Like, why do I find this funny, or why is this inappropriate, and what scenarios? Like, there's been things that I used to write a lot on Facebook. Just like mini stories, right? Of
Nice.
stupid shit that goes on usually, but with like random things, like with either people or kids, and with kids it's usually they're great material by themselves. Because they just say things and they don't quite grasp it, and so I used to do that all the time, and then I got to a point where I was just like, you know, like, like, because I realized I couldn't say a lot of the jokes I wanted to because I absolutely knew that there were going to be people that would not find that tasteful. And I would have to deal
Sure,
with those
for
family
sure.
members.
I had to get. I got off of Facebook.
Oh man.
I had to get off of Facebook, and you should see family. Some of my family. It's been pretty awkward when I'm trying to show them Kermit the Log stuff.
Oh really? Well, now, is your family? Would you say they're
You there?
conservative?
Well, no, not. No, well, no. I mean, like family, friends might be. They're mostly everybody's liberal here.
Right. Right. Well,
They're so
sometimes.
liberal. It's San Francisco, so
Right.
like I it's like I it's don't like I don't have a big family. I have my mom and I live in like a little neighborhood, and I got my gay cousin and my aunt that live near me, and we're all like a big family kind of, and like my gay cousin, I have to like I can't show him all my jokes sometimes, because I feel a little bad about it, but
Right.
I don't know why. I feel like I should even just show it to him, but I don't know. So
Right.
he's probably the only person that I get timid around my jokes.
Yeah. Because I mean, it is like when it comes to humor, it's like there's certain things I won't write or share because of that paranoia. You're like, I don't want to upset someone intentionally. It's not to be harmful to that person per se, especially if you know they're going through things.
Right. Like, it was when I'm telling my jokes and stuff, it's like, it's not personal,
Right.
and like, I try to be equal opportunity. I make fun of everybody, I like trying to make fun of white guys, you know, people of all colors,
Right.
midgets, transgender people. I don't care.
Right. And I think,
Actually, I was at a bar the other day and this
mm,
guy told me that, oh, go ahead.
no, 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 go right ahead. Go right ahead.
What are you going to say?
Oh, no, no, no.
I was going to say I was
Yeah,
at
go
a
ahead.
bar the other day and this guy was telling me, this guy at a bar was telling me that midget, midget, midget hookers are half off. Or they're double the price, not half off. Sorry, I don't know why I thought that was real
Oh,
though.
that's great.
That's crazy, dude. Because I would think they would be half off. No, they're double the price because it's like a novelty.
Right.
I'm glad I could share that.
Well, it's like it's a joke. It's not vindictive or
Yeah.
anything like that. I think when it comes to jokes and stuff, like like with my eldest squirrel here, like he's old enough. He's quite old enough, where he and I can. He tells me he says some of the craziest shit, and I'm like, God, you're my kid. I kind of have some regret there. I'm like, I'm sorry about that, but because he's gonna carry this on. But he was he like earlier he said to me, he was at work and there's this guy who's he works with is very entitled. He works security at a retail place, and this dude he works with is very silver spoon in the mouth. Okay, family is loaded. He basically has the lowest amount of hours to work there. This particular person,
Mhm.
and he's a really cocky asshole. That's what he was basically telling me, and I'm like, okay. And so he comes up to me and he's like, oh, because my son is very tall and lean, and he goes, oh, you're a weak boy, blah 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 blah. I could probably kick your ass, puff in the chest, look at me, I'm a macho man type of stuff. And my son's like, I'm sorry, I don't speak minimum wage, and he left. And
That's how.
and the kid was just like so upset by that, and he knew it would upset him because that's that vanity of him, of this particular kid. And I said, that's to me that's hilarious because the joke is there. The guy, it hurt his little ego, but it worked well.
Right. It definitely landed. The
Oh, it
joke
did.
definitely landed. That's awesome.
And but it's like humor is every day, and how we see things, and like I grew up. Humor was a pretty. I think it was a pretty big part of our household. Was humor that way in your household? Was it something that like you kind of grew up around, or was it something that you just kind of got drawn to on your own?
My dad was a very entertaining person, I guess you would say. He's very like the life of the party type of person, and he always showed me good humor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sick a lot from my adult. He got sick from the time I was like maybe 8 till when I was like till I was like 30. He was really bad off. So, but a lot of the time we would a lot of laughter, definitely.
And it's funny because when you look at how you were drawn to humor and things like that, were you really close with your dad growing up?
Uh, I'm an only child, and yeah, so like he was sick, so he didn't work too much, so he was always around, and we had a really good relationship, but it was there was ups and downs. I think everybody has that.
Yeah.
Since he's passed away, I look back on our relationship much more differently, with much more fondness now, and understanding for where he was coming from and stuff.
Right.
But he had some addiction issues and stuff like that. So it was like, and I kind of got those too, to be honest with you. But
Right. But it's
that's
it's one
where
of
I
those
also,
things you live and learn from.
yeah, definitely. But he definitely was funny, and he definitely made me laugh all the time. And we would always watch. Like, I would like stay home from school sometimes, so we'd like watch movies all day long. So that's where I kind of got the love of, my mom and my dad. They both love movies. That was like maybe the thing that I wish if I could go back in time, do anything with my two parents together, it would be go see a movie together. We really love those times.
And those are the things that draw us together. Like because I'm an only child also. So um, my relationship with my mom was strained, and my dad wasn't around at all. So my grandparents were a huge part of my bringing up, right? My grandmother was the one who had the humor. My grandfather too, but he was more of the introvert. My grandmother was very extrovert, and she was very matter of fact and very noticeable, very recognizable, loud, and I was like, so growing up, I was just like, oh, okay, like this is how grandmas act, and
Right.
I find out that it's not how grandmas act later on, um, but it shapes who we are. Her humor is definitely there, like and she would say things and they were funny, but she didn't think they were funny. She just thought they were a matter of fact type of thing. Well, that's just the truth. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, Graham, you can't say that. I'm like,
That's so funny.
but we all pull things from our childhood in a different way, and humor, it sticks with us in that way. Like I've seen things, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because in our family, like um, now that I've moved on, in life and have my kids and my husband and so on. We have our inside jokes in the household. Everyone does, and I think the best jokes are the inside jokes. And
That's awesome.
I love those jokes. You know what I mean? Because that way you can just keep rolling and then poking fun at things. And for me, it's stuff that's very. I love poor acting. Like I like watching terrible, like
Oh,
similar to the old horror, like when you
I got
replace.
a show for you then, but go ahead, keep telling me.
But yeah,
Keep going.
the horror films, like and even like terrible TV shows. Like there's this one I have clips from it. I'll eventually play them at some point. I don't have my soundboard hooked up, and I'm disappointed in myself. But there's this terrible actress. She was supposed to be a historian for like this ghost story show from like the 90s. It was with Patrick McNee,
Hmm,
and
I think it is.
that is the biggest inside joke ever. I've had this for
Check it out.
freaking years. Have you ever heard of that show?
No, and I've never heard of Patrick McNee either.
Oh my God, Patrick McNee is a very old school actor. He was, oh my God, why am I blanking now? All of a sudden, he was on a show from the '60s. Um,
Let me ask you a question. Would you say like Patrick McNee, how loud in the knee somebody in your house?
like Patrick McNee. Oh, like the man is revered in this household for whatever reason. We have like it's always been a thing, and because he hosted this
That's
ghost
awesome.
story show, so there's terrible actresses, and I have some terrible clips from it that I love them so much. But
That's so cool.
you like the classic horror, and also like there is always a hint of cringe in those
Hmm.
horror films. Like the one I was able to attend. It was like I think about a month or two ago. I popped in to one. I stayed for the whole duration, or at least the majority. Yeah, I stayed for the whole one, and it was a slasher film, and I can't remember what it was. It was terrible. It was about that artist who lost his freaking mind.
Oh, yeah, that was I got flagged for that one.
Did you?
Yeah, and I got it off of YouTube. So, you know, because there was naked women in it.
Nah. Oh well. It was still
Yeah,
funny though.
it was funny. It was funny. I've been doing we just started a new show, me and Megs
Yes.
and Fanatics of Film,
Oh,
and
okay.
we're doing a Wednesday watch party every week for American Horror Story 1984.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I brought it up only because I like talking about myself, but also because you said you like the cheesy acting, and it's so cheesy.
Is it
It's like
not?
intentionally cheesy because it's supposed to be. It's shot like an '80s slasher film. I mean, it's so. I really enjoyed the first two episodes. Like, it's so awesome '80s slasher film stuff, and
Oh,
I love '80s slasher film.
I have to
That's my.
check it out.
Oh man, it's so sick. Like, and it has a cool cast. Like, Julia Roberts' niece is in it, Emma Roberts, but Billy Lords is the other. She plays the slutty character.
Oh,
And
okay. Okay.
it's like a group of them go to the cabin, and there's it's they go to like Camp Crystal Lake basically. It's so cool. Oh my
That's
god.
hilarious. And then there's
Yeah,
so
and
many
it's like
people that are
it's like
fans of it.
they're like doing cocaine right off the bat, and of course Kermit loves that, and they're like in a Scooby Doo van. There's like so many '80s references, and the music is, uh, I've been singing over and over. I always feel like somebody. I'm not going to sing it. Somebody's watching me.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's so kick ass.
that's cool. I'll have to check it out. I haven't. I had heard, about it coming out, and everyone was saying they're raving about it. I'm starting to hear more and more people talk about it. I know that Perp Minded is a big fan of American Horror Story, so yeah, he's definitely he's a fan. I haven't heard. He said he loves. He so far he likes it, but he hasn't elaborated too much on it because he knows that there's other people that are, haven't had a chance to see it yet. But
For sure. I was gonna say it's like it's not like the movie The Joker, like like the Phantom Menace or whatever. Like now there's gonna be 20,000 Joker videos.
yeah,
But I like the 1984 one because not everybody's on that. It's kind of it's like a niche thing.
right. It's not like being thrown in your face necessarily. It kind of stands alone.
Yeah, yeah,
I like
and
that.
yeah, it is, and
It kind of reminds
yeah.
me of what Stranger Things basically is. You know what I mean?
Oh, we got greenlit because of Stranger Things. Like this, like, and the other thing too. I was like, right before the show started, I was like trying to because we were gonna like we did I did slasher trivia. I had a slasher drinking contest for the other night, and it was like every time somebody falls, you have to take a sip. Anytime somebody's car doesn't start, you have to take a sip. Anytime somebody's in the shower, you got to take a sip. Uh, anytime
That's
there's a sex
awesome.
scene, you got to take a sip. If somebody, yeah, right, exactly. Anytime you see the kill weapon, you have to take 5 sips. So yeah, it's fun. Meg's dressed up as an '80s girl. I was looking for stuff for Kermit to wear, but I probably need to go to like a baby store. I don't know.
Maybe you can try to look for some doll clothes off of eBay. You know what I mean?
Well, what was I doing before? Okay, before I came up with the Kermit character, I was like doing I was doing basically the same jokes, but as myself with a pink pussy hat on in my bathroom. And it was like that was my bedroom. Like I made it up like my bathtub was my bed, and I was like, just a broke dude.
Right.
But I forgot where I was going with that actually. Oh, I had gone down to like like the where they sell the stuff to people with low income stuff.
Like a
Like Salvation
Salvation
Army.
Army. Okay.
Yeah, and I bought like this. I bought like a little like a child's cooking toy thing.
Oh, that's
Like
hilarious.
yeah, and everybody looked at me like I was a pedophile. So I'm not going in there again doing that. But
Yeah, you know what's funny too is like the more creative we are with the content, especially the more interesting it gets. It's like I'm gonna be getting my puppet ordered
yeah,
finally this week, and because we were talking also about dressing up for Halloween and all this other stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, there's too much stuff going on this month. But yeah, I'm gonna be getting my puppet. It's been the small squirrels finally got their butts to school. I'm like, yes, everyone go flee before me. Um,
right.
but
Okay, so
yeah,
well,
sorry.
because me and Snowdove, you've been the number one person we want on our show.
I know. I need to. I have to get. I have to have the right puppet because originally, my husband had sent me a few. A couple of my friends sent me a few, and none of their mouths opened. I was like, that's not right. I'm like, I need the squirrel's mouth to open when I speak.
You know what? I know what you mean because I made the Nightmare on Frog Street. Did you see that by any chance? It was like
I saw some clips of it. I didn't sit down and watch the whole thing yet, but it was good, and I was like, oh
yeah.
god. So it's one of those things
I
I'll
think,
probably watch
yeah.
with my eldest and my husband at
Oh
some
yeah.
point.
That's the other thing. I was telling you about like how it's pretty graphic for puppet stuff. Like there's some like hardcore sex scenes with Miss Piggy and Kermit the Log
Oh
and Coke.
my.
But it's funny and dark. But so I was at a family barbecue with my extended family, and like they're kind of they're not conservative. They're just like they don't let their kids see anything bad. And I got drunk and I was talking to the dad, and he put it up on this huge screen. And all of a sudden,
Oh
like
no.
I'm watching it, and when I was coming back home with my mom, she was like, "What the hell were you thinking?" So I was like, "My bad."
You're like, well, I had a lot to drink.
And in my defense, what had just been on the TV was Deadpool 2, and they showed his penis.
Oh, And who
in
cares?
Deadpool 2. Have you seen Deadpool 2?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they show the baby dick part, and I was like, bullshit. The guy got cut in half, and they showed his baby dick. I mean, I can show Miss Piggy getting plowed by Kermit.
Right. It's not a big deal at that point. If they're allowing that, then they can get over it.
Thanks, Matt Squirrel. I need to bring you up to family parties.
Because it's not a big deal. If they're gonna let that be shown, then at that point you're just asking for everything else. So who cares?
For sure. For sure. I had to like do all the howling parts as Miss Piggy and stuff, and I'm sure my neighbors thought I'm crazy.
They were like, something's going on over at that house.
Yeah, and we were doing it like in the backyard. Like I live in the neighbors are there's tight living quarters, and like we're out in my little backyard, and I got like my friend dressed up as Freddy Krueger, and we're just screaming out loud as I'm running from him with Miss Piggy. But I only brought that up because you were saying the mouth movement. I did the whole thing to Miss Piggy's mouth. When I got Miss Piggy, her mouth doesn't move, and that does suck.
Yeah. And that was the thing. I was like, if they don't have their mouth open, I can't even. There's no way on some of those to do it without like fucking up the puppet. You know what I mean? So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I found one that was, and it was on back order, and they have it back in again. So it's not cheap
Cool.
puppet, but it's awesome. And like I already had some. I have other puppets, but they're not squirrels. So
Nice.
one of them is a giant ostrich. So it's
Wow.
it's amazing. It's like the most obnoxious thing ever. So I'm like, oh, that'll be great because squirrel can have a pet ostrich. But
That's famous.
random shit. But but I love that kind of humor though. I think your guys, the show that you and Snowdub have, the Ribbit and Bigot show, which you can find on Snowdub's channel, which I'll make sure to put up some of
Yeah.
those links as
Hail,
we're talking. But
hail snow dove. Hail snow dove.
yep, hail Snowdub, gender check hashtag.
Gender check.
Yeah. Snowdub's a cool dude. He lives in Arizona, doesn't he? He lives.
Yeah, he is in Arizona.
Yep. Because
He's a very, very good dude. Very good dude.
yeah,
He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he doesn't mince words usually. I appreciate him big time. He's a good friend of mine on here.
yeah. Snowdub is a nice guy, and you know, I know that because like one day you and I were chatting, and things, 'cause sometimes Twitter and just people being asses on Twitter can just it gets boring. It gets very
Yeah,
monotonous. And I was
I
like,
hate it.
that's why I sent you guys those graphics that day. I was like, you know what, you need a little happiness, because things were just kind of like blah on Facebook or not Facebook,
Yeah,
Twitter.
it's a little down. He's good. Like everybody does. It's part of Twitter.
Mhm.
It's like such a it's so fake and disgusting, and like everybody is like I can't stand the constant people talking shit like like it's so fake, like we're not here, no, you know what I mean? It's like it's so weird to someone, and people always have arguments and beef. I can't stand that.
Yep. And it's constant, like you were saying. Like there's always some kind of melodrama and people stirring
Yeah.
shit that doesn't exist. Just because it's like you can actually feel them using that as a filler in their lives.
Oh
Like
yeah, because they we had stuff to talk about. It's like shit, what am I going to do? I need to find somebody to be mad at and to talk shit to, and then I don't even blame the people who do that as much as I do people who just blindly all of a sudden listen to whoever they're supposed to hate this week.
mhm. And there's a lot of that. Like I just I was talking to LB about and other people randomly because we talk about the same stuff at times at some point or another, and like when it comes to like, oh, this SGW stirring shit here or this person's doing that, I'm like, fuck them, like ignore them. In
Hmm.
the end they just want the attention. In the end they're just poking the bear, and it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. You're not going to change, and I'm being honest, you're not going to change the fucking world bitching at somebody online. You know,
No,
you're not.
no,
You know,
no.
um,
Especially by bitching. Nobody says anything. Nobody says anything nice or tell. It's like, God, you do, Squirrel. You're nice. You're one of the good ones.
thank
Some
you.
people too. It's like,
Because
yeah.
I
I,
don't want to air dirty laundry in a public square. Like I don't think
oh yeah.
if I have a problem with somebody or they have a problem with me, we talk in DM or we don't. Like whatever. I don't believe in putting um,
Hell no.
a
I,
specific
I
person in
judge.
a
I
bullying
judge.
position. You know.
I'm a judger. I'm a big time judger, and especially I can't stand, like, this sounds callous of me, but I can't stand when people put their personal problems on there either.
Right.
Like like maybe it was like a one-time and something happened, somebody died, maybe, I don't know, but like, don't share your personal stuff. Like nobody, no, you shouldn't, it's like nobody cares about your personal stuff.
Dude, I had just literally like PB and I talked about this yesterday, and it's I swear it was almost the same verbatim thing. Like, why do people feel like they need to? That's why I don't go on Facebook as much anymore because there's always somebody dead. There's
Yeah.
always somebody's dog dead.
Yeah, there's always somebody's dog.
And
Yeah, I
honestly,
did, man. I'm sorry. I
it's
love my dog, but
I love my animals too, and I love my kids, but it's like I found myself even getting stuck into that routine like about a year ago, and I was like, I need to get out of this funk. I feel like by the end of all of it, Facebook's gonna become like a giant cemetery in memoriam, and
oh, that's scary.
and that's how it feels. And because I had a couple friends that passed away, it was very unexpected, and you're like, fuck. And so I'm looking at my Facebook, and I'm like, this person's dead, and I'm
Yeah, I
like,
know.
and it's
It's
very
weird.
sad. It's a sad feeling. I'm like, well, and I see all the DMs this person I had shared or whatever, and I'm like, man, it's sad. And it's not to say that I'm running from mortality or some shit, because you know how like there's that fear in Hollywood of like getting older and all this shit. They're obsessed with
Yeah,
it.
no doubt.
I think people in general are terrified of mortality. So you get on Facebook and you see all these people talking about death all the time. It's like, yeah, I can understand it being like overbearing and too much. But it's just like when you get those Dear Diary entries. Oh
Mhm.
crap! It's like,
Uh,
listen, I'm
Dear Diary entries are equal opportunity gender. There's just as many men doing the Dear Diary posts as there are women.
oh, absolutely. It's on both sides. Like,
Yeah, it's
oh my
might
god.
be more than men.
And God forbid if people on your social media had a divorce and you're friends with both of those individuals.
Then
Oh,
you gotta pick. You gotta delete somebody.
oh yeah, somebody's getting deleted, and it's usually the whoever airs the dirtiest laundry first is out. If it
Mhm.
gets really bad, then I have to talk to the other person because I'm like, listen, man, I'm like, you need a fucking attorney.
Yeah, right. No kidding. That's so funny. I was on Facebook for the longest time. I just got on Twitter when I started doing the Kermit the Log thing, and I enjoy Twitter. I mean, as much as I said I hate Twitter, I enjoy Twitter for the stuff I go on there for, which is just to make jokes.
Right.
But I completely got rid of my Facebook. And all the family members and stuff, the friends that I went, it was just like a high school reunion going on there. And most of those people, there's a reason we're not friends. So,
Right. Uh huh. Like
you
there's people I mean I was telling my husband I'm like I'm still quote on Facebook, but I don't use it very much. Like I use Messenger more or less to stay in touch with
right.
certain people. But as far as with all these other people, they're my family or they're my friends. But I honestly, because uh we don't we don't really have a what do you call it immediate family. At least I don't. I have more cousins and things like that that are around. Mom's passed away. Dad's doing whatever. But I don't really stay in contact with immediate family because I don't have any. So I'm like, oh, these fuckers aren't coming to my Christmas party. It's cool, like I don't
Exactly.
I don't need to
Exactly.
be here actively. I just I leave it up just so that way if something happens they can reach me.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
I I actually I might have a Facebook actually because I made one just to try to promote my last video, but
oh, mm-hmm.
I don't know. Uh,
it, it's
yeah, Facebook sucks.
it's Facebook definitely sucks, and then Instagram is like, it's okay. I mean, it's not nearly as bad as in my opinion, as bad as Facebook, but it's up there. You
I
know.
need to actually learn how to do Instagram because I just got a job recently and it starts like in the next couple weeks and
Oh.
I'm gonna be doing social media and part of my pitch was that I would be doing Instagram for them.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah, Instagram. Once you get going on there, you're gold. You know,
That's what I figured. I'm like, shit. What's the difference? It's all the same, right? I mean,
dude, it
like
is.
videos and
And
so,
honestly, get just like videos are big, and in the
yeah.
graphics and things like that, people. It to me, it's more colorful. It's a much more colorful place to be. At
Hmm.
least with images, and I like
Well, that's
I
cool.
love photos, and I've done honestly found products from being on Instagram. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh.
Wow. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, random stuff. I'm like, what the fuck's this? Oh, yeah, more crap I don't need. Yay! But
Great.
but it's you'll meet some really interesting people. I mean, I think I met more. I would say as far as like meeting new people, I've definitely done more so on well, between Facebook and YouTube. Definitely
Wow.
YouTube though.
Well, YouTube. I feel like YouTube and Twitter are the same thing for me because those are the ones I use together. But
Mhm. Mhm.
like all my videos on YouTube are from people watching on Twitter. So
Yep. Honestly.
um,
And
I met some cool ass people in this community. You know, you're one of them, Matt Squirrel. You've always been a just good people.
thank
You
you.
know,
I
I appreciate
appreciate that.
you. I
I,
appreciate you.
I
You're a stand up. You're a stand up. You're a stand up dude.
yeah, yeah, it's been because I was a lurker on YouTube forever, and I just happened to go on like it was for a parents Phantom Menace type thing. It was just talking about parents and how you raise your kids, with SGW type extremism, when being in film, especially Star Wars. And it was on Black Angus's channel, and that was
Yeah.
back, God,
That,
April.
you were on Black Angus's channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Nice.
that's how I first got introduced. And after that, like I had talked to Geek in Disguise, I had talked to Shellback
Right.
and One Immortal Coil or One Immortal One. My bad. Um,
Dude, Immortal. He's coming on my channel Sunday night or something like that. Monday night.
yeah, he's a good guy, and like
Hey,
I chatted with them for a while, and it was really they were all very nice, but they were encouraging me like you should make a channel. I'm like I don't fucking know what I'm gonna talk about. So then I was on Geeks morning shows for a while, and then
mhm.
I went there to Lee's, and that's where I've been for a while, and I kind of linger. I go around,
Yeah.
so now I'm
Well, I love you guys in the Phantom Zone. You guys
yeah.
are great in the Phantom
It's
Zone.
it's
You
been
have
fun.
really good chemistry.
Yeah, thank you. I think it goes. I think the show is always a lot of fun. I miss having LB on, but I know he's got other projects and stuff he's working on, so he's kind of had to take a step back and work
Yeah.
on stuff. But we always have fun, and in the end, it's like uh, if you're having fun doing something and you want to grow from it, then run with it.
Zod is a great heel.
Yes, and you know what? Bless his heart, dude. He he puts up with all of us.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate Zod because he's self-deprecating, unlike a lot of other YouTubers can't laugh at themselves.
Yeah, yeah, because for a little bit, people were worried that we were bullying him. I'm like,
I
no,
thought it too, but he can take it. He's funny.
yeah, Zod doesn't lead Zod, whatever. He doesn't take himself seriously in that way,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
and he's a quirky dude, but he's a good guy, and PB is a good guy too. There's a lot of really really kind people I've met, and and you're also among them too. You and Snowdove especially,
Right
um,
on.
everyone's been so like super like nice and chill, and when there's like the little dramas or things that go on, I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, I
most
don't.
of the drama I ever see is only from people who have a lot seems more invested than than maybe you or I would. Like the bigger channels, it seems
Right.
like a lot of it is just silly bullshit drama.
Oh yeah. Mhm. And for a while there, it seemed like it was splashed all over Twitter by a couple of them, and I was like, no, that's okay. I don't want to get involved in your bullshit.
Yeah, I have to tell. I don't know if you noticed this or not. It's like a running joke I have with Kermit that I don't know if many people even know it's a joke, but I'm always hitting on Julie from Wished Upon a Vlog.
Yes, I've noticed that. I saw your comments. I was like, oh God, you're like, I'll love you forever and stuff like that.
I'm joking though. I hope like, I mean, it's, I don't know why, because I don't know. I just think it's funny, but she never responds to me, but she never like blocks me or anything. So it's pretty funny. I always say the same things to Renfamous.
Oh God, what does Renfamous say when you do
I
that?
don't know. I'm just always like, you know what, boo? Like, or Bay, or, I'm always like saying, like, I'll write her like a poem from Kermit, I don't know. And then I'm always telling Julie she should wish upon a frog.
Yeah,
Uh,
I got that. I'll see it every now and then on her,
yeah.
especially when all the stuff was going on with her.
Yeah. But
You were.
that's what I was like. That would tell us. I would tweet to Jeremy, like, don't get between a frog and his meat.
Oh God.
Almost as something that would piss her off too, even though I don't really want. I'm just joking though, but
Right.
like, if
It's
that
not
could piss me
being
off,
mean.
then it didn't. So
Well, in the end, all of that fighting that was going on was trivial to begin with. So
yeah,
whatever. In my opinion, that was humor. I was like, whatever. and
Yeah.
Lethal was involved, and then you were getting after Lethal because she was, don't
Yeah,
mess with my
me
woman.
and Lethal, yeah, Lethal can take a joke though. I really appreciate me and Lethal got a good rapport.
Yeah, Lethal's a good dude. He's it's funny because everyone has different little personalities and stuff online, so it's like I don't mind it because I'm like, if anything, it's more colorful. It's the
Yeah,
crazies that make life more
like
enjoyable anyway.
I know this is probably, and I don't know the politics of it all. Like sometimes I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even realize two different people I'm friends with totally hate each other on
Right.
Twitter.
Mhm. Yep.
But, I actually find the guys on War Campaign to be funny. But I'm sure there's some serial killers in there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
It's true. You know
you
there
know,
are.
yeah. Oh well, I also assume that there's like at least 1 in 10 Jeremys are a serial killer.
Oh yeah. You have to make that assumption statistically at this point.
Yeah, right. Like, dude, like, I felt weird at first, like, using a fake persona that's Kermit the Log, but like the people who are like the fake accounts of people, they trip me out a little bit.
Yeah, when they actually are like pretending to be someone else. It's very different to have a persona, like the whole Mad Squirrel thing. I'm like, that's fine.
Right,
It's safe. For me, I don't, it's
right.
just easier. But when you see someone with an actual photograph and they're pretending to be someone else and they're like catfishing in a weird way, you're like,
Yes,
so,
yes.
it's a little, to me, that's shady because they're asking for it. You're like,
You know, but then they get to a point when some of them get to like they start getting a little bit of Twitter following, or
mm-hmm,
also they got 100 YouTube followers, and then they're like, shit, I can't keep going on as the fake guy. No, I'm never going to get my recognition, and then they try to change it sometimes.
right. And like, there's been some instances too of like, female YouTubers, like, um, you
Oh,
know,
I got some ideas about some of the stuff going on here. Go ahead. I asked you. I just got to make a mental note so I can bring it up
okay.
after.
But there's some female like YouTubers. Like the reason why I don't get on camera is just for privacy reasons, mostly because I have kids.
Yeah, I can
Um,
get. If I
but
had, I never would.
right, like that's just how it is, and I have nothing to hide in that
Once they're
context.
18, I would maybe.
I'm sorry.
Once they're all 18, then maybe I
Oh
would. But
yeah, when they're old enough and like whatever, then that's fine. Um, but yeah, like that's the reason why I do it. But I've spotted a couple, and not naming anyone, that they've shown their photographs, okay, allegedly, but have never shown themselves on camera. And I'm like, if you are the same person as your photograph, then you shouldn't have a problem getting in front of the camera.
hmm, that's interesting. You say that. That's along the lines of what I think.
Okay, go
There,
for it.
there's a new YouTuber female who's very attractive.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think she's fake. I think that somebody created her. Like she answers questions sometimes on YouTube, and she's very very good in front of the camera. And so I think somebody has her sending making a couple of videos of yourself saying some pre-recorded lines to say,
Oh.
and then they tweet for her all day long and get all this traction by the thirsty dudes to the point where my friend Fossil, who makes all my film stuff with me,
Mhm.
he has a account that we're trying to build up too, and he's going to be puppeting with me also, and his name's Fozzie Bearballs on the account.
I saw that.
We
Oh.
he went to City College with me. He's one of my best friends in life, and but we actually put out a casting call yesterday to do the same thing to create a fake girl account, and we already have we know some people have bit, like we're gonna have interviews to I'm sure people will get it. I probably would just be spilling the beans, but yeah, we were thinking about casting a fake girl to make a fake Star Wars account with.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think that's
Yeah, and
smart.
like just be like, hey boys, do you guys think I should dress up as slutty Darth Vader or slutty Princess Leia today? And then I can run the poll online,
I
like
think that's awesome.
yeah.
Honestly, because well, when we end the
I
interview,
don't
I definitely have
know.
to ask you about that. But yes, like it's very interesting because I've seen like I was told, and this is the truth. I was told this more than once that, oh, you'll get on camera eventually. All the girls eventually do, and I was like, suck a dick. Like I'm not doing that, man. Um,
Right.
I really don't want to put myself out there like that, because if someone's only gonna sub to you based on your appearance, then fuck them, you know.
Oh, definitely.
And at the same time too, um, I don't want to give that part of myself away. Like,
No,
I think privacy is always a thing, and if I ever want to get a, like, I'll say, quote, a job, um, I don't want to have to be like, yeah, here's all this shit.
mhm, mhm. You're right. You're right. Definitely, you're right about that. I mean,
But
that makes
even,
total sense.
you know,
I think there is definitely subsect of the female YouTubers who monetize their looks more than they do anything, and
oh,
I'm
absolutely.
they take advantage of a bunch of guys on here who it just seems like I just don't understand the point of just throwing super chats at somebody every night. Like it seems like a lot of them have this fantasy relationship with the person, and
Yes.
that's crazy too. And if I was some of these girls, I'd be worried about myself.
Oh, yeah. It's just like those Twitch girls. It's the same damn thing. Like,
What
they get
happened
on
with?
there
Yeah,
and
it's not that far off. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
it's yeah, because they get on there and you know, they're like, oh, I don't want to be sexualized. I'm like, then don't show your boobies, okay?
Right, right, right.
And flaunt that, and then get upset when somebody won't take you at, and I'm being, this is not very woke behavior, fuck it. But if you if you project yourself to be a certain way, maybe hypersexualized, and then all of a sudden you don't want to be treated as an object, then don't start on the foot of being an object.
Right, right, right.
I think that's common sense, but
You have the
you're
Scarlet
not
Letter
gonna.
in your heart for forever.
Human instinct is gonna be like kicking in. It's like,
Yeah,
uh, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, uh, what, I forgot the actor's name, for The Witcher 3, Superman. I forgot his
oh
name.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Um,
Cavell, whatever.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Cavill. Man, I don't care. That man can do my dishes naked. I am okay with that.
Great, exactly.
You know,
He can do. I can appreciate a good-looking man. I'm not gay, but yeah, I
I'm
wouldn't
just
tell him to stop doing the dishes.
right. I'm like okay with that man doing my dishes naked, and that is absolutely sexist, and I don't give a damn. But it should be okay to say that both ways, not just one side. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
attractive women and there are attractive men. Hollywood doesn't hire certain people. We know that. If you don't
yeah,
have the perfect skin, or if you weren't a model first and then turned actor, in quotes, um,
right.
they're
But
not going to do that.
the NBA doesn't take bad basketball players either.
Exactly. It's just, yep, exactly. So I mean, I do agree with you though that there's a lot of that, like, what do they call them, titty cam girls,
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that. And I had a
I,
friend of mine who was on Twitch, and he was pissed because it was just like some of these girls will be on there maybe a week, and they have like 10 times the amount of, like, clout and
mhm.
followers and
Oh,
people
yeah.
promoting them.
Here, the girl I'll tell you about who my idea is that it's fake. Just was blow up, and then like I'm like, wow, like I should have been doing this for like 6 months. No, I'm not like even like, oh no, why is somebody doing better than me? But
Right.
it, it's if I had if that's what I was thinking. I was really thinking like, man, I could totally blow up a Twitter account and YouTube account if I had a hot chick doing all the stuff.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, it's not like you said, it's not about, oh, well, they have more followers than me, blah, blah, blah. It's more like you pay attention why they have the amount of followers they do. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, wait a minute. What is this person doing to get that clout, or to get that, I guess, presence on social media or whatever platform they're on? And when you find that answer, you're like, oh, it's one of those.
Okay, I should. I feel like I've just been ragging on the women of the fandom menace now for the last 20 minutes. There's a lot of really cool ones I really admire. You being one of them, obviously.
Oh, oh, thank
Uh,
you. I'm not in the Phantom Menace, but I am a supporter.
no, you know what I mean. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean.
know.
I'm not in the Phantom Menace, but I would say like if the Phantom Menace was the mafia, I'd be an associate.
Exactly. We're all associates just hanging out over here going, look at that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But like Mara Jade, I love Mara Jade as a
Oh,
Twitter,
yeah. Hmm.
and she's a real person, and
Yes.
she is so fierce. She's like the John Wick of Twitter. So
Yeah, she is. And she also does writing for Chaos Central, that website.
yeah, yes, I've
And
read her writing. I
and
love her because I
she's
love that.
really, really a great writer.
Yeah,
And
she's getting her
SMJ.
master's too.
I'm sorry?
She's in school for her master's right now, also.
and that's the thing is like, um, the SMJ, she does fan fiction on there, and
Who? SMJ? Oh yeah. Okay.
SMJ, yeah, and she's really, I mean, her fan
Yeah,
fiction
I
is
think I didn't know that
fantastic.
was a woman.
Yes, it is. And she writes on the site. She does fan fiction on the site, and
Hmm.
I
Fiction.
I edit all the stuff. on the editor on the site, so
Well,
I
I didn't know you were working on that, Matt Squirrel.
yeah, I am on that site. I'm an editor, so I read every article at some point.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, now I'm going to pay more attention to it. No, I know that. No, I'm joking. But I I've read articles on it. Because Stephen Walton and Mary Jade. I support everybody on that. I didn't know that you were the editor though. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I've been doing it a couple of weeks, so I've been
So
catching up.
cool.
So yeah, but like
So cool. Yeah, you're an editor on a website. That's awesome.
yeah, so that's where I do that. I'm doing other stuff too, but yeah, that's where I'm always doing something. I have to stay busy. I can't not do something. So
Hmm.
I'm that person. So it's the
I work
ADD in my
like
brain.
the opposite. Like it takes me so like I have to put everything off until like I don't want to do anything until I have to do something.
That's
Like creative, as far as creative stuff.
I like staying. I write when I'm not doing that stuff. I'm writing. If I'm not writing, then I'm doing graphic design. If I'm not
Hmm.
doing that, I'm doing photo restoration, or I'm doing
That's interesting.
side
Wow,
projects. I'm
you're a
always
jack of all trades.
you know what it is? It's from the you know what it is, and I think maybe you will understand this. When we're both only child, like we both came from an only child household. Like we didn't have siblings and all that. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have a whole lot of cousins around when I was young either.
Never
But
had.
okay,
Nobody. Yeah.
so like in my brain, I'm
Yeah,
so used to doing things. I get very I'm very extrovert personality, but introvert when I'm uh like at home. Like
same here.
I don't know if you were the same way,
I'm
but
exactly the same way. Like I'm very outgoing in public, but I'm almost like the movie The Joker in that way. Like I'm so outgoing, but the whole time I'm having conversations inside my head. Like I just wish that I was fucking alone.
yeah. Mhm. I mean, I love people to a point, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we're done. But I'm the same way. I go home. I just want to be left the fuck alone.
I
I like
love
to,
going at my house with my friends.
yeah. Like what the kids know, like okay, a certain time in the evening, I don't want to hear yelling and screaming, and you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
any of that, because it's just I like having a chill house.
For
I don't
sure.
mind the noise of kids. I don't, animals and stuff, but
I have to say though, I don't know if it's. I mean, I've always been like that, but I'm more. It's a more extreme version now. But it might be because I'm older now, and now I like school and stuff. But when
mm-hmm.
until I was like 30 years old, I was a maniac. So like
Right.
yeah, like I'll just share this funny little story. My first screenplay I wrote was a
Mm-hmm.
TV episode. It was a TV series. It was a pilot for a TV show, and it was called "To Protect the World, Saving the World One Entree at a Time." And it's about a cop who goes undercover to stop the cocaine stuff at a restaurant. It's comedy.
Oh, okay.
But the reason I wrote it was because when I was 21, I had gone to school to be a cop, and I
Oh.
passed every test for the SFPD. I was in. I had the physical, the written, the oral, the psychological test, and then I tested positive for cocaine.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
So yeah, my family got the letter in the mail saying, yeah, you had massive amounts of cocaine in your system, and then you barred from the applying for any cop job for like 7 years. So hello restaurant life, right? So then I ended up waiting tables for like 12 years. But yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Now, when you were like, would you say that like the with the coke, did that become an addiction for you, cocaine?
I don't. I mean, it was. I loved it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I did love it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would after that. I mean, I was just like points in my life. I was living in like single, SRO hotel rooms in the city, like
Right.
doing rougher drugs than cocaine, and like not speaking to my family for a couple years at a time and stuff. And so it was good by the time I got myself straightened out. By the time I was like 30, and now I'm like an old man. So, but yeah, it was. But
Well,
the thing was, I would be waiting tables and like I had like for a couple years was working like on Fisherman's Wharf, all the tourists, and
oh.
I would have, I was selling cocaine. I would have like, I would have 20 to 40 bags of cocaine on me throughout a shift, and each one I would get for 20, and I could sell for up to 50. to 100,
Wow.
to a tourist. And I would just like be sitting there doing cocaine the whole shift, getting off doing cocaine, selling cocaine, and then waking up and going to a restaurant again the next morning. I mean, it was a really vicious cycle. But,
Wow.
you know, I got a lot of life experiences from that I always felt helped me, because when I was in like screenwriting classes later on in life, when I'm like 30 with people who have like never gotten a fist fight in their life, it's like, dude, I had like, like no, it was like people would be writing in a screenplay about getting punched or doing a drug. And it's like, you can just tell in your writing, you've never done that.
Right. I mean, you have to, like, the worst of, like, the majority of writing, like I said earlier, it comes from within ourselves. So even if that's an experience we had, or uh, an interaction, right, or use of vice, right,
Right.
um, that's gonna come across.
Right.
Well, like a fear and loathing experience, really.
Definitely with my character Kermit, because Kermit's a cokehead, and like I feel like it helps with the jokes because I've already done the stuff,
Right. And
and
and that's the thing is, like, it's not to promote the drug use, it's to show the obscurity of it. You know what I mean?
yes,
Is
yes,
because it
yes.
is such a vicious cycle. And then, um, I have, uh, had family that was addicted heavily to it, and they were ridiculous. And I was like, well, this will make a good story one day. Right now, it's not funny, but later it's gonna be hilarious. Um,
Um, it actually has, it's like a plug, but the problem is I forget so much of the times. But randomly I'll just be sitting there and be like, oh shit, that was a crazy night. I could write, I've come up with a lot of jokes just from that, just like thinking of stuff that happened, and then, or somebody saying something like that night, random night,
right.
and then you just turn that into a monologue joke kind of. But yeah, definitely.
Some of the funniest shit that I remember happening was around friends that were doing stupid shit. Like, and I
Exactly.
happened to be there because I just, we'd be hanging out or at a party, and there'd be one person that just decided to go for it, apparently, whatever it was.
Mm,
Whether that was public nudity, uh,
wow, that's
or
awesome.
harassing the neighbors, stupid shit like that. But looking back on a lot of this stuff, it's like, oh, okay. Well, maybe I was there just to kind of witness it, if anything. I was like, all right, that's cool. Because, like, I only smoked weed. That was all I ever did. So
God, I mean, I can't, I don't go, I'm never not high now for weed. I don't know how people manage their time with, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I think I was definitely self medicate with that for sure.
yeah,
But,
I know quite a few people that do for different reasons.
yeah, but, I just started going back to yoga again, and I feel great.
Does the yoga help a lot?
Yeah, it does. I think that and weed is like a good lifestyle, and doing creative stuff, and it's a good positive thing for you. The Bikram yoga I really like.
The yoga is really, really, it's very healthy for the mind.
Yeah.
It's a great way of, like, getting that. It's kind of like Tai Chi minus, like, standing in
Hmm.
a park, but you know, it,
I'm I'm a
it's
big dude, and it's like I feel it's definitely like the best way, because like I used to play basketball when I was in like in high school, but
mhm.
that's 25 years ago, 20 years ago, but it's like the best way to sweat because I'm not going to go running, so I like the yoga.
Yeah, I like a lot of the
You look like you work out all the time.
who me
Yeah.
lies. No, I'm pretty, like, I know that's a lie. Um,
No,
I
seriously.
well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But yeah, like, I kind of just chill. It's as
A
I
lot of
gotten
cardio
older.
getting up the tree and getting in the nuts.
When you're swinging out of trees long enough, that's aerobics. You know,
For sure. You're a gymnast.
I'm a gymnast. That'll be my new.
Yeah.
I'm not a sky skater though, so there won't be any Nancy Kerrigan issues.
You
But
gotta be like on the
you know,
girl who does when she lands on the mount, like a squirrel head over that.
yeah, like I got into yoga for a little while, and I was like, this is cool. Like, it was super chill, and I liked it a whole lot. But it was rough in the beginning when you first start. It's very rough, and
Okay, so I'm talking about it like this veteran. I did it for a while, like like a year ago, and then I stopped, and I just started going again this week. But I've enjoyed it. But God, the first time I went there the other day, I
hmm
had gone to the movies to see Rambo before, and I had a big bucket of popcorn, and then I had some fried chicken, and then I was planning on canceling with my friend, and he didn't let me cancel, and I had to go, and I felt nauseous.
oh, I bet. Oh my
It,
god. and the thing is though is like once you get going and you get into that routine, you have like a buddy you go with, or is it
Yeah,
just okay?
yeah,
That
yeah.
helps to have somebody you go with, and
I also do feel like the song "Fat Guy in a Little Coat's" playing or something. You know, like when I'm in there, like everybody's so tiny
oh
and in shape and in like petite.
yeah. And honestly, it's like when I first started doing it, because I'm short, right? And I was like, dude, I don't know if I can do this shit. They're all doing these weird things, like they're bending in weird ways.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I'm tall enough. Like, you know.
great.
But it ended up being fine. Like I figured it out, and I was like, okay, I can. And I taught. I actually, because I tried it like many years ago, and I did it for for a few years, and then I
Wow.
stopped, and I was like, because I got bored. But it was very healthy, and I did feel better. Like overall, it was just like, okay, today's a good day. I don't. One thing I don't do is I don't eat a lot of like crap. Like I eat a lot of crap. Don't get me wrong. I'm a squirrel. We have these things, but I don't eat pork. And I don't eat a whole lot of red meat.
You're my opposite.
Yeah, I know. I don't eat a pork. I don't eat a whole lot of like red meat, but I'll eat chicken like a motherfucker.
Hmm.
And and I don't drink soda at all. So it's like I got rid of all that, and that's what's kept weight off big time.
You drink alcohol?
No.
Nice.
No. Nope. I smoke. See, that's my vice. I smoke. So that's
You gotta have
that's my Achilles
that's not
heel.
even right. You know, that's just like that's like God. That's like nature. Like you know what I mean? Like God, I
Man,
love.
well, no,
Yeah.
I smoke cigarettes. Like I smoke
Oh,
cloves.
I thought you said you smoke weed.
Oh no, no, that'd be fun. But I got a retirement plan for that. So like not right now,
Ooh,
but like when I
nice.
get to a certain point, I already have it set up in my brain. No
Mm.
vaping though, because I like the slow
Like
burn.
I
So
smoke, I smoke, I smoke cigarettes, but not only like I probably have like maybe two a month.
oh okay, yeah, I
Like
remember
when
seeing.
like when I get really nice and drunk some night, like
Yeah,
that's like the dessert.
right. Yeah, I know friends that only smoke when they drink.
But I used to just smoke them all day long. Like man, to be honest with you, watching the Joker film tonight, and I was like, God damn, I need one.
Right. Yeah, that's my vice. I smoke, and that's like the downfall too. Because I'm like, God, man, I guess I'm picking my cancer at this point, but whatever.
Well,
Um,
hopefully by that time they'll have the cure, right?
I'm hoping. Yeah, we'll see. We'll
You
see.
know they already have it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did already have it. I heard that they had stuff coming out of Cuba.
Hmm. Oh, wow. I who was I asking? I was asking. I think it was Mad Max. I had Mad Max on my show the other night.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I've heard about Mad Max.
I appreciate that guy. You know,
I
I just don't think.
don't think I've ever sat with him.
I hate people who try to tell people how to talk or to think. And like he has his own opinions, and he's pretty. He reminds me of like it's a shtick he's doing. I think and like Sam Kinison to speak of old comedians.
Oh, okay.
You know, I find him very entertaining. And do you watch his videos? He's actually, and he's very loud and aggressive, but he's very thoughtful. Like his points, like he tries to actually have a conversation. And like, I don't know the ins and outs, all that stuff with another person fighting with Jeremy, but
Right.
he he's cool with me, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I have never. What I have only heard of him honestly, from the whole Jeremy thing, and I was like,
Yeah,
who is
there's
this Mad
4,000
Max?
clubs.
I have to check him out. Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
met him or sat down with him or been to a stream. So I guess I should definitely check it out and see what's up. I appreciate the Sam Kinison humor, um,
Yeah.
because that's
Black Angus took a bunch of flack because he had Mad Max on his channel because this is what the community's got to. They're like, you shouldn't give him a platform. I'm like, who's the SJWs?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this is the thing is when you start to gatekeep like the SGWs do, then you should take a step back and reevaluate what the
Yeah.
fuck you're doing. You know,
Like,
you
you can be
cannot
able
be
to
the
say whatever you
hypocrite.
want across the board, even if it offends me.
Right. Oh yeah, and I mean, it's like I was, when I was, because I edited all of recently. Recently I got the last two stories up for Steven and a bunch of other people on the website, and everyone comes from a different place. You know what I mean, as far as why they, have an opinion against the politically correct nature of this bullshit we're dealing with. and everyone comes from a different place of doing that. So just because I don't agree necessarily with what their thought or opinion is, I do, not saying I don't, but let's just, for the fucking sake of the discussion, um, if I just because I don't agree maybe with a position someone has does not mean I don't appreciate their opinion. I respect it. I may not approve of it or I may not agree with it, but I can definitely respect it because it's their opinion and they have the willingness to put it out there. I'm not going to gatekeep someone, for that opinion. Now, there's certain things that obviously are overstepping the line where it's not a joke, it's just hate, being hateful.
Right. Okay.
And that's stupid. I'm like, I don't like to waste my time on racism, and I certainly don't like, or anti-Semitic shit. I don't agree with any of that behavior because in the end, it's just, it makes you look or feel, um, like shit. It really does.
I
I
have
think,
to say, I do, but I say racist and anti-Semitic jokes, but I don't
mm,
feel like I am that person, like I just think that sometimes a joke can be funny.
well,
Like
it's
for
a
instance,
joke.
I said, what was the joke? The something about the Black Mermaid, like
Oh,
one that loves the Black Little Mermaid
yeah.
is because she smells like fish and tastes like fried chicken.
Oh my god. Oh, see, that's
That's
okay because
racist.
it's
That's
a
racist,
joke.
but I find it funny,
Well,
so
it's a joke. I mean, that's
yeah,
the thing is like humor is supposed to have that effect. If
for sure.
everyone is so like, oh, it's offensive. Oh, what am I gonna do? Well, hide your fucking kids, lady. That's life.
Hide your kids. And I learned in it's not like I learned this, but they said in the school stuff, like it's much easier. Like if you were to do a cart, it's like it's easier to say horrendous stuff if you have like a cartoon doing it. So that's why
Yeah,
I thought Kermit would be a great person to get the jokes out because he can say something more easily than somebody who could be perceived as a white male.
correct. And even then, it's like we're all a bunch of mutts running around. So this whole idea of white male, black this,
Oh yeah,
Hispanic this, it's like ridiculous. Like, if we were all just to throw us into a big, genealogy tree, we're
yeah,
all fucked. So I mean, this idea that like it's down to a skin color. That's we've gone back in time.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
you know and it's
It's crazy.
sad. It's the saddest thing I think I've seen. I mean, I remember being younger and stuff, and it wasn't that. I mean, the racism is always there because people are going to be themselves despite what the Hollywood bubble thinks. In the real world outside of your bubble, of like regular normal day-to-day folks, racism is going to exist because of differences in fear.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
and eventually that goes away, but there's always going to be a replacement for it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just going to move on to something else like religion or that like one of my friends, this is the funniest thing ever. Like I was talking to him and he was like, I used to be an atheist, but then it became a religion. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
That's hella funny.
you know, it's ridiculous. But you know, I guess before we start to wrap this up now, I really appreciate you coming on today and spending time
Oh,
hanging out and talking and
this
chilling.
has been fun.
Yeah,
We should do this more often. I just like you're pretty fun to talk to about stuff. So
yeah, man. Like I'd love to start. I was talking to a couple people and they're like, "You should do a stream," and I'm like, I know. It's getting it together and making sure it's on time for everybody and having the people
Mhm.
I'd like to love to have on. I'd love to have you on. I would love to sit down with Snowdub too. I got to talk to him, but it's being. I want everybody to have some kind of actual conversation because we all have our characters we'll play into a bit. If we're on a
Yeah,
panel,
it's been
voices
nice talking and not having to be in character. Even though I
right.
do it sometimes, even less like it.
Right, because I mean, when you're in character, it's like you do have to kind of play up to that to some extent, and you're not really able to like say like authentically something because you're in character.
Right, right, for sure,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
I really do appreciate you though coming on. I
Oh
was
yeah,
real
man,
excited to
bro.
have you come on, and
Yeah, you can. My name's Burt, but you can call me Sherbert now. You've earned the right
Sherbert.
to call. Me. Yeah,
That's I support that.
thank
when
you.
I when I come on the show with the Ribbit and Bigot, then we can be Sherbert.
Well, yeah, yeah. I'm Kermit on the show, so you're gonna have to. But yeah, we need you on as soon as the squirrel is ready, Mad Squirrel. You're gonna come on,
Absolutely.
and I'm gonna have you on my channel too for a live stream if you're down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just let me know and I'll come and like we'll chill and stuff or whatever you're doing. Let
Yeah,
me know. Yeah, because like
yeah.
a lot of it like last few weeks I've been so preoccupied with small squirrels. It's been
Hmm.
a little insane over here.
Sure, sure.
When we end this here in a second, I'll get into that in a minute. But I do.
I'm gonna. It's an open invitation, and I'm gonna. I'm not. I just got my streaming back after being banned, and
I saw that. I was like, oh shit.
yeah, I'm pretty. I like my channel has grown pretty well without being able to stream. Like I've only made 10 videos or give or take. So a lot of it's just coming from Twitter and talking on Twitter. But I really think like my channel is going to do better now with the live streaming. Like for instance, my Nightmare on Frog Street video I made, I spent like 50 to 100 hours, maybe more than that working on it. And that has like right now it has like 1,100 views, which is pretty good for me. It's great for
Wow.
me. And that has like the amount of watch minutes is like been tripled by my 2 live streams that are just like me going on for an hour. Like the
Wow.
watch minute, like because people stay on the live streams for so much longer than they do going on and click on one of my videos.
Right. Mhm. And I
So
think
that's just
too,
something I've learned.
your channel is like I remember in the beginning, yeah, you had some videos up, and then all of a sudden you were doing live streams. You were with Snowdub working on projects, and then I know that you did that production, and there's so much to do. Like there's so much creative avenues to go with, especially with your
Oh yeah.
channel. And I think it's gonna blow up. And I definitely recommend people check out Kermit's channel and also follow him on Twitter because he is hilarious and he always has a comment. You know, even if it's here and there, you'll see a Kermit comment inevitably.
Thank you, Matt Squirrel. I appreciate it.
But
I really appreciate you having me on. This has
oh,
been really
absolutely.
fun, really great.
I'm so
Uh,
glad. I'm so glad.
yeah,
I'm glad we got to hang out. And I was like, because I always
yeah,
tell people, hey, just do a one-on-one. They're not sure exactly where we're gonna go with it. I'm like, listen, it's just finding a
yeah.
topic and talking, like having a conversation. And
Sex, drugs, and yoga,
right.
and cigarettes.
Exactly. A little bit of
So,
smokes. But anyway, thanks so much to those who have been listening. And you check out Kermit's channel and his Twitter. And check out his Nightmare on Frog Street. Very fabulous.
you too, Matt Squirrel. You got to check out A Nightmare on Frog
Oh,
Street.
yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that this weekend, especially because
Okay.
I got all this time now. I'm like, boom. All right. Well, everyone, have a great afternoon or evening, wherever you're at. And I'll see you on the next episode.
Peace, y'all.